There are some football feelings you can only get with BetMGM Sportsbook. That's right. Not just the highs, woo! The O's, or the no-no-nos.
No!
It's the feeling that comes with being taken care of every down of the football season. The feeling that comes with getting MGM Rewards benefits or earning bonus bets. So, whether you're drawing up a same-game parlay in your playbook or betting the over on your favorite team, the BetMGM app is the best place to bet on football. You only get that feeling at BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas, now live across the DMV. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, DC only, subject to eligibility requirements. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Cheniere Energy is proud to call Texas and the Gulf Coast home. With the work we do, we've created thousands of jobs, and we make a difference in the communities where we live and work. And in over 35 countries, across 5 continents, we're delivering the liquefied natural gas the world needs when it's needed most, helping families just like ours. At Cheniere, we're energizing a more secure future for Texas, the Gulf Coast, and the world.
Welcome to Education in Focus. I'm your host, Eliana Coronado. Republican lawmakers in Oklahoma are taking steps to investigate the State Department of Education and Superintendent of Public Instruction, Ryan Walters. Joining me to discuss this is Chalkboard News editor Brendan Clary. Brendan, what concerns have led legislators to open this investigation?
Yeah, there was 6 big concerns really that they cited in an original letter to basically last week they asked the House leadership to basically start a investigative committee for Ryan Walters and the Oklahoma Department of Education. And basically they said that he had denied access to the State Board of Education's executive sessions, that the department was unresponsive to inquiries, wasn't complying with budget directives, and did not have travel expenditure transparency, and also that they were not complying with open records laws and defying the legislature. So like kind of a laundry list of complaints saying like, hey, you're not hitting these things, you're not being open about this. So there's like a number of different things. And like one of those with the budget directives, like there's a specific security fund that they say like he refused to comply with. And then the Attorney General has also weighed in on that and said like he needs to comply with that. Like the State Department of Education needs to give schools back the amount of money that they were owed. Just like kind of those different kinds of things. Like there's some recent developments too. It's a bit of a moving target, but those are the big reasons. And I believe dozens of Republican lawmakers signed on to that and said, yes, we need to have like an investigative committee, but far short of the number that the House Speaker said he would need in order to really get that going. So they said they would need like 51 or more Republican signatures on the letter. So that's kind of older news there, but that's really the source of the concerns. I think there's like a lot of different kinds of things. And, we have some Republican lawmakers there saying like, hey, we need to look into this.
And so you mentioned they don't have the support they need to like open a legislative investigation, but the more recent development is that there is an investigation that is going to take place. Who's in charge of that?
Absolutely correct. Yeah. So it's called the Legislative Office of Fiscal Transparency, and it's a state agency in the legislative branch that assists the Oklahoma House and Senate. And that's directly from the agency's website there. So I'm quoting from that. And basically they are supposed to provide like budgetary recommendations for their specific oversight committee, and basically allowing the legislature to know, this is how we should spend this money. This is how much we have. So it's kind of like one of those watchdog organizations. And this is a little bit outside it's like wheelhouse, I think. But that's who is going to be looking into the Department of Education and Ryan Walters, according to a statement issued last week. It was basically, a realization we're not going to get the support we need, but we can use this sort of investigative agency to kind of do the same sort of thing, I think.
And the Senate pro temp Greg Treat weighed in on this. What did he have to say? Yeah,
he basically said, I think that we need to look into this. I'm not going to get in the way, and we are going to respect any of the findings. And I want to see like where this goes. But he says, honestly, this isn't the agency's intended function. So that's the Legislative Office, Fiscal Transparency. Like they are not, really for this. So that was kind of the sort of statement that he issued, was like, look, this does not follow the original mission or purpose of LOFT, that Legislative Office of Fiscal Transparency. And, the Senate wasn't really a part of it, but the concerns are serious and the nature of this matter deserves attention. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. So essentially, like, this is not like a good practice. Like, this isn't like the right way to use this office. But at the same time, pragmatically speaking, I will honor the findings and I kind of give my blessing on this. So it's kind of like a mixed sort of thing of like, don't do this all the time, but also it's okay in this instance because we need to figure out what's going on there.
Is there anything else about the story that listeners should know?
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's a little bit just like the kind of the backstory that I think is kind of helpful here, that Ryan Walters has been sort of like a conservative firebrand in the state and has, basically ran on and won with like parents' rights sort of platform of like, here's what is going on in Oklahoma schools. Here's what we want to be going on. He's like saying like, look at the pornography that's in books and, saying like, here's the different kinds of things like that. That, a lot of cultural fights that are happening in the boardroom. Like, this is how we retake Oklahoma schools. We're going to bring the Bible back into schools. And so there's been a lot, I think, of fighting between him and some of the establishment, like superintendents and like establishment, education systems in the state, and a lot of pushback and a lot of national headlines, of like, here's what Oklahoma is trying to do. So I think that that's kind of behind it. And I think that you have a lot of people standing behind Ryan Walters and saying, look at what he's doing. It's amazing. And they're saying like, this is the will of the parents. This is what we would like. And then on the other side, I think you have people saying like, this is, unconstitutional. And now you have Republican lawmakers who are, I think in a lot of different ways asking like, well, how is the money being spent? And sort of like, are you complying with the law? So I think that we might be having some of that, like sort of a clash between like somebody who's saying like, we need to reshape the system or use it for our ends, ideological ends, and like saying that that's a good thing to do that. And then, lawmakers saying like, well, how are you doing that within the law? And are you doing it lawfully? So I think that might be some of the backstory to know. And I think that we're going to see this kind of ramping up. We most recently saw on Friday last week, Superintendent Ryan Walters like kind of said, like calling the bluff, saying like, well, start an impeachment trial or like start the impeachment investigation, find the details you need. And, I think impeachments are like very politically like, so should be like sort of last resort. And so I think he's calling their bluff and stuff. So I think that we're going to see this escalating. And, I think this does kind of point to like the broader, as I was saying, cultural divides in this country. So I think we're going to kind of see more of that. And, I think that you'll see more of that too as some of these investigations continue and sort of the political fallout of that.
Well, Brennan, thank you for your insights on this story, and we'll continue to follow it. If there's any further developments, listeners can keep up with those at chalkboardnews.com.
There are some football feelings you can only get with BetMGM Sportsbook. That's right. Not just the highs, the O's, or the no-no-nos. No! It's the feeling that comes with being taken care of every down of the football season. The feeling that comes with getting MGM rewards benefits or earning bonus bets. So, whether you're drawing up a same-game parlay in your playbook or betting the over on your favorite team, the BetMGM app is the best place to bet on football. You only get that feeling at BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas, now live across the DMV. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, DC only, subject to eligibility requirements. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Cheniere Energy is proud to call Texas and the Gulf Coast home. With the work we do, we've created thousands of jobs, and we make a difference in the communities where we live and work. And in over 35 countries, across 5 continents, we're delivering the liquefied natural gas the world needs when it's needed most, helping families just like ours. At Cheniere, we're energizing a more secure future for Texas, the Gulf Coast, and the world.
At Ashley, you'll find colorful furniture that brings your home to life. Ashley makes it easier than ever to express your personal style with an array of looks in fun trending hues to choose from earth tones to vibrant colors to calming blues and greens. Ashley has pieces for every room in the house in the season's most sought-after shades. A more colorful life starts at Ashley. Shop in store or online today. Ashley, for the love of home.